Well, this is not the smartest guys in the room. I think I want to start this every time I see Tom. So when I see Tom, that means we're ready to kick this puppy off. So Tom, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's good to be back here with you.
Oh,
How's your Wednesday shaping up so far?
so far so good. You taught me about this Tom time where time sometimes stops when you're in the middle of things, and I find myself, I don't know if I was a victim of Tom time prior to knowing you, but Tom time. Tom, you want to explain Tom time?
So I have this weird thing. So I found out. I realized I have another weird sort of time thing that I can tell you about today. If you're interested more in like Tom's oddities and personality quirks. But anyway, yeah. So what you're referring to as Tom time, I have referred to, or I've heard referred to as like time blindness. But basically, I have this thing where, for whatever reason, in my mind, it is always whatever time it was last time I looked at a clock until I look at a clock again. Like I don't have a good sense of like how much time has passed if I don't look at a clock. So sometimes I might think like, oh, it's only been like 5 minutes, and I'll look at a clock and it's been half an hour, right? Or sometimes I might think like, man, I've been sitting here for an hour, and I'll look at the clock and it's like 3 minutes, right? Like it's just I have very little concept of time if I'm not sort of like glancing at a clock periodically to like remind myself or like refresh what time it is in my head. So anyway, so it's like one of those things where like, like we'll be getting ready to go, like Becky and I will be getting ready to go somewhere, right? Like go to meet my parents for dinner, the three of us going to meet my parents for dinner or something. And like, I'll go to hop in the shower, and I'll look at my watch, and it'll, when I take my watch off before I get in the shower, like, and it'll be, say 5:30. And I'd be like, oh, I've got half an hour. There's plenty of time to like get a shower, get dressed, whatever. And like I'll take a shower, and I'll like shave, and then I'll be taking my time getting dressed and deciding what I'm gonna wear or whatever, like just faffing around, like listening to a podcast like while I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden, like I'll get a text on my phone, and Becky's downstairs, and she's like, we're going out to the car, like see you in a second, right? Or meet us out there or something. And I'm like, going out to the car, like I only have like one leg of my pants on. What's like, how, like, is she just rushing? And then I'll look at the time, and it's like, oh no, it's been a half an hour. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I have this weird thing. I have another weird thing. You tell me, do you want to hear my other weird thing, or do you want to respond to that first, or tell me what you think of
Okay, well, the first one is what I was referring to as Tom time. Once you told me that, I think I'm guilty of it. I'm like, it was 9:20, and all of a sudden I'm in flow, and I'm super productive, thinking like I can get so much in this minute, these 2 minutes, and then I look back and like 15 minutes has passed, but I thought 2 minutes has passed. So guilty. Now go on to more about Tom time.
Yeah. So, and just to be clear too, like it is not always, for me anyway, losing track of time is not always tied to like whether or not I'm actually being productive. Sometimes I like it is a constant thing. I kind of always lose track of time if I'm not looking at a clock, right? So like it doesn't matter if I'm being productive or if I'm screwing around, like, surfing the internet, looking at random stuff, or like, scrolling through reels on my phone, like any or all of the above, or being incredibly productive and like, cranking out work. Any and all of the above are possible for me to lose track of time during. Like, so yeah, it's not necessarily tied to productivity. Okay, so here's the other thing is like I visualize time. And I like, it never occurred to me really that it was weird. But like the cleanest example of like how this works in my brain is like when I imagine, or when I think about like the months of the year, or like a year calendar, but just the names of the months, right? Like not like individual days, but just the months. In my mind, like that has a shape, which apparently is not true for everyone, which I just never even like thought to ask. But basically, like the months run, and I don't know why this is, they run counterclockwise, and the shape is sort of like if you took the letter D and like turned it 90 degrees, so like the rounded part was down and then the flat part was on the top, but then like it got overinflated, so the flat part started to bulge a little bit. So it's like a soft arc on the top and then like a circle on, like a half circle on the bottom, right? If that makes sense. And across the top, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's super weird. I realized this. I was describing this to Becky the other day. She was like, "What are you talking about, you weirdo?" But anyway, there's like, it's like the summer months kind of go across the top. They're like the top of the shape. So like, and they run counterclockwise. So for some reason, from right to left, it's June, July, August, right? And then going down the left side is September through December. And then like New Year's is like right at the bottom at the apex. And then going up the right side is January through May. And that's the way I see the year.
Tom, we have never talked about this, but how much dope did you smoke in high school? What the heck are you talking about?
I honestly, not much. Genuinely not much. I did not smoke much dope in high school. I
Not
swear.
the smartest guy's taking a whole different direction today. Tom's vortex.
Maybe, yeah, it's not the smartest guys becoming the weirdest guys in the room. And I feel like I'm gonna win that one. But yeah, I don't know. Like it came to my attention because I saw a clip from Daniel Tosh's podcast, and he had on one of his writers, who had written on Tosh.0 and his like is a comedian also and has toured with him as a stand-up and stuff like that. Somebody that he's known for a very long time. And he knows her husband and like they're all friends or whatever. And he was like, I've known you for like 20 years and I just found this out about you. Like, tell everybody what I just found out about you. And apparently she has some kind of similar ways of like visualizing time. For her, it's just a circle. Like it isn't like a weird shape. But like the months of the year just are in a circle around like a clock face. But yeah, I like, she was like, do you not visualize that? And he was like, no. And she was like, what do you see when you think of the months of the year? And he's like, nothing. I don't see anything. And she was like, that's crazy to me. And she's like, and then he's like, everybody in here listening to this in the studio is just mouth agape, like at how weird this is. And she's like, I'm agape trying to understand how you guys function without visualizing this stuff. And I'd never talked to anybody about it, but I just kind of like, it's just always, that's the visual that I have. And I don't know why. I don't know how it started or where it started, but yeah, I visualize the months of the year in a weird D on its side.
Okay, we are going to unpack that, or you can unpack that somewhere else where you paid $150 an hour to do that. So today we are talking about brands, companies that deliver, and we're going to go this because I'm so creative. Since it's Christmas and Santa delivers, that's where the thought process came to delivering things that always deliver. Santa always shows up with the gifts. So we want to talk about next week is lumps of coal, Tom. So this week we're going to talk about companies that deliver. So I'm going to start this out, and I'm going to go with let's say McDonald's. I know at McDonald's that I'm paying $30 for my family, $40 for my family, whatever, $25. We're going to get nuggets. We're going to get warm fries. We're going to get a burger. It's not the best burger. it's barely a burger, but I know exactly what I'm going to get. I know when I stop at McDonald's in Maryland, I'm going to get the same hot fries, the same salty fries, the same mix on the soda. It's clean enough that I'm not completely disgusted. The food's warm enough, hot enough, and fair. I'm full there. McDonald's delivers. It delivers on what it told me it was going to give me. It didn't promise me filet mignon. It didn't promise. It didn't give me complete junk. Eh, it was worth the price I paid. Family happy. We're down the road to our vacation or wherever we were going. Everybody's happy. So they delivered for me. So, Tom, I wanted to talk to you about companies, brands, things, consistency that deliver, like our friend Santa Claus or whoever else is delivering. What do you got?
I'm kind of impressed that you weren't doing air quotes around Santa Claus. Santa always delivers. But anyway, yeah, no, I mean, look, at the end of the day, fast food works for a reason, right? And it works because it kind of consistently delivers across whatever brand of fast food it is, wherever you are in the country or the world. There are different chains pretty much everywhere, right? But, McDonald's is pretty ubiquitous, KFC, Popeyes, or Popeyes, as you say, with your Pennsylvania accent, or just your Dom accent. I don't know. I might be throwing shade on Pennsylvania. That may just be a you thing. But anyway, yeah, it's sort of it always sort of consistently delivers on something that is like fatty, salty, sweet, right? Like, and that's like, those are the sort of like the flavors in the food that give you like the sort of, the serotonin dump, and like the sort of biochemical reinforcement that says, yeah, we're getting calories in, like this is good for us. We need salt to survive. This is good. Like put more of this stuff in your mouth, right? It's like the happy chemicals, right? And the happy neurotransmitters. And so you end up feeling good mentally, even if physically you don't feel great after eating at McDonald's. But yeah, it totally makes sense because it delivers. It delivers that hit every single time, like salty, fatty, sweet, right? Like every single time, every McDonald's you go to, you're always going to get that hit, right? And like you said, consistency across, because they've sort of centralized their product manufacturing, and so yeah, so it's pretty consistent no matter where you go in the U.S., right? And likewise around the world, in different areas, different regions of the world, it's consistent. So yeah, absolutely. I think when you first mentioned this to me, my brain went to two companies that I've talked about recently. I talked about them in my newsletter last week. I just did a presentation where I talked about these two companies yesterday, so it's very sort of front of mind for me. And they're two companies that adopted content strategies that I approve of, because they are very legendary adjacent strategies, but value first strategies for their audiences. They did not gatekeep the content. They did not gatekeep the information. And they've seen really, really positive results for both of their sort of implementations of this. And one is a company called River Pools, and another is a company called Yale Appliance. And so River Pools is a fiberglass pool company. Primarily, I think they do other pools as well, but primarily a fiberglass pool company. And like back in around 2008, they were doing, a few $1,000,000 a year in revenue, and spending about 250 grand a year on sort of traditional advertising, pay per click, et cetera, SEO, the kind of standard web advertising sort of package. They were spending about 250 grand a year on that, and they were doing fine. But then the recession hit, and the phone stopped ringing, and so they dialed back on their ad spend because they just couldn't afford it to sustain it. And what they did instead was they put in the time and effort to develop a blog and then a video series centered around answering the most commonly asked questions they got from customers, right? And so they ended up now, we're more than 15 years later, they have this huge library of content where all they do is answer questions about pools, right? And it's anything and everything you can think of, from what does it actually cost? Like, what are you really going to spend to get a pool installed versus like maintenance versus replacement versus repair, all kinds of stuff, right? Anything you can think of, they've answered over time. And at the end of the day, they not only survived the recession as a result of this, when I'm sure a fair number of their competitors went out of business, because let's be honest, during a recession, not a lot of people are spending money on luxury things like pools. But they've also grown their business afterwards. And they've done all of that without ever going back to their pre-recession spending on marketing and advertising, right? And it's because they developed this content strategy centered around delivering value to their audience. And the other example, which I'll be briefer on, it's very similar, but Yale Appliance, this appliance store, similar thing. They created this customer resource center on their website that has videos and blog posts and Q&A and FAQ and all kinds of other abbreviations. And basically, this resource center provides appliance reviews, reliability ratings based on their own service data that they get from the appliances that they sell and then service. And then sort of how-to guides, installation guides, yada, 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 repair, like, fix it yourself kind of guides, all that kind of stuff. When they started this content strategy, they had one store. And today they have 4. And they've, enjoyed that growth over about a decade. But again, adding 3 locations in a decade is pretty significant growth when you think about it, right? Essentially quadrupling their brick and mortar footprint, in the span of a decade, is pretty impressive. So like those are 2 examples off the top of my head. And the reason why I thought of them as companies and brands that deliver is because they're delivering value to their audience, right? They are delivering for their customers or their potential customers or their audience, regardless of whether or not that audience ever decides to purchase from them. So regardless of whether or not you ever get a pool, or regardless of whether or not you ever buy an appliance from Yale Appliance, because let's be honest, everybody has appliances, right? Not everybody has a pool, but pretty much if you're a homeowner, you have appliances. But like, at the end of the day, whether you buy from either one of them, you are more knowledgeable for having consumed their content. And so I think that's delivering for your audience, right? That's delivering for your customers. That's being a brand that delivers for people. So that's what I thought of when you brought up the subject. And I'm super curious to hear what other folks have to say. But that's what I got. That's my initial take.
All right, it's good stuff. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Not the smartest guys in the room. Dr. Tachi, we are talking about companies and brands that deliver. So, do you have an example of a brand or a company that delivers, or just something you like in general that you like? Oh, this is consistent, and I like consistency. So, hey, Tom, since we're on Indie Soup now with Dr. Tachi, do we have to refer to her as our boss? Like, is there like different terms that we should use?
I don't think so. But I don't know. I mean, maybe. Dr. Boss Tachi, something like that. And also, I was going to say, Dr. Tachi, I'd be curious to hear your take. Feel free to comment on my weird time visualization thing that we were talking about when you got in here. But yeah, curious to hear what you think about companies and brands that deliver as well.
Oh, yes, I have a lot to say about all of this. And good morning. So there was a show on Marvel. It was a Marvel character that was on FX, and it was a show years ago. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? It was kind of strange, but I enjoyed it, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
I'm not familiar. You got to give me a little bit more to go
Legion. So I don't know if you've ever watched Legion, but it had this kind of strange not that you're strange, but it had symbolism and things like that, like what you were talking about. And I actually really loved and I enjoyed Legion. It was so well done. But it had like these different characters that kind of thought in those types of patterns that you're talking about. So as soon as you brought that up, I was like, oh, this is like that show and Legion. So that's what it reminds me of. So it's funny because the superhero in it is a mutant, quote unquote. So all of these people that are in this kind of place, they're like mutants and they have these different abilities to do things. So that's what it reminds me of. You have this sensual ability, this super sense to do things. Are you really a superhero, Tom? Tell the truth.
I don't know that I would call it a super ability. If anything, it's just a quirk. I don't think idiosyncrasies are superpowers necessarily.
Not necessarily, but they could be. So check out Legion if you've never watched it. It's actually very good. And then to the point in terms of consistency, this is something that as soon as you all talk about that, I thought of the fast food industry. It works because it's consistent. And I thought about this though, until you come up against something that challenges the quality of that consistency. So if you think about it, yeah, when we were like, all of us were little, we were probably eating like McDonald's for us was a treat. That's not something we had all the time. But it's like, oh, we get McDonald's. So, we ate home food because my mother wasn't playing that. But we would get McDonald's periodically every once in a while. Yes, you share this medium fry and you get one hamburger each or cheeseburger each. And so that was the thing. And, it's different. So, of course, it's tasty. If peanuts taste like steak if you don't have anything else. So then when you come up against a better quality, I'm not even going to go with a restaurant or casual dining. I'm going to go with something like a Shake Shack, right? Or a Five Guys, or for some people that are on the West Coast and In and Out. When you come against a better quality, it makes you challenge the consistency and the deliverance of that McDonald's or the Burger King. At first, you're like, this is rubbish, right? So it's interesting because the consistency is there and it seems to deliver until you come up against something that challenges, are they really delivering? Or am I just accepting of the same nonsense? And then as far as a company, I thought about these printing companies. For example, Vistaprint, Moo.com, they consistently, if you order business cards from them, if you still use physical business cards, it's consistently always good. I've never had, in the past, I've ordered from like Moo.com and Vistaprint. I've ordered some signs and things from them. I've never had any problem with them. I could probably postulate that the same would be true for like Kinko's. Well, what's the name of it now? FedEx Office. Still Kinko's to me, whatever. When they do those jobs, bigger jobs for signs, that it's going to be consistent when you get it because they're concerned about, customer satisfaction when it comes to those things. The one place that I've had experience with in printing that they're typically it's hit or miss is, I have a t-shirt company and most of them are hand painted. Some of them are screened, but I was playing around with getting them print on demand. There's always an issue with print on demand because the quality can be hit or miss depending on the colors, etc. So I'm still waiting for somebody to do a print on demand that has consistency in the quality. So those are my answers to all of the questions.
I like it. Yeah, I've had some issues with the print on demand for clothing stuff as well. Just in terms of like, it's good at first, right? But then like it wears terribly, right? Whatever it is, whatever their system is, like it just doesn't last. Like over basically within about a year, like it's all kind of peeling off, like sweatshirts and t-shirts and stuff. So that's kind of annoying. That's kind of a bummer. the other thing that was funny is you were talking about going back to talking about McDonald's. And like when I was a kid, there were like 2 times that we would get McDonald's typically, right? Because McDonald's was like a special occasion thing. It was not an everyday thing. And so the 2 times were when I was a kid, we went as a family, we went to church on Saturdays in the like at the evening mass or whatever, rather than the Sunday like main mass or whatever. So we went to church on Saturday evenings, and so after church on Saturdays, we would go to McDonald's and get McDonald's takeout and bring it home and eat at home. So that was like that was one of the times, and that was a pretty regular thing. And then and then the other one was when I was young. The school that I went to, we got out early on Fridays. And so my mom, who was a teacher, didn't always get out early on Fridays, but when she was able to be there on Fridays to pick me up, she would often take us to McDonald's for lunch, because we didn't have lunch at school on Fridays because we got out at like noon or something like that. So, and that's when I was like little, like, first, second grade, something like that. So anyway, like those were the 2 times. It just popped into my head. Like Dom, were there like special occasions? Was McDonald's a special occasion thing for you guys when you were growing up?
It's funny because me and my wife still talk about it being a treat. So even though for all the bad things about it, the nostalgia of it. My wife had a single mom, and her dad, when he picked her up, would take him to McDonald's, and we talk about that. And in my family, we would go to Long John Silver's like once every couple of weeks, and the whole family would go out to Long John Silver's. So absolutely, those things were treats. And you said one day on here, Tom, you were talking about nostalgia is a great recipe, but it can't be the only ingredient. I think that it was to that extent about like Pizza Hut trying to be like the old day pizza. Well, that's fine, but you still have to have new ingredients. It can't be the only thing. And so I wonder about all these companies, like why not sell a little of the nostalgia and how it was a treat and things like that, but get some new ingredients along the way, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to do that, they have to step up their game, because at the end of the day, like I think as you become an adult, what you realize, and I'm sure Dr. Tachi probably will agree with this, and I'm sure Brian and Barbara would agree with this too. But like, as you become an adult, you really realize that like, okay, like McDonald's isn't a treat because it's extra good or delicious. Like it's a treat because you just don't get it real often. Like as a kid, like for me, like, but now as an adult, when I can have McDonald's anytime I want to, I almost never choose to have McDonald's. And even when I do have it, which I probably haven't had McDonald's in like well over a year. I genuinely can't remember the last time I went to a McDonald's. But like when I do have it, it's as a last resort, and it's sort of like, okay, it's because it's an option that I like. I know what I'm gonna get, and it's okay enough, right? But it's never like I'm not like excited about going to McDonald's ever as an adult, right? Like I was excited as a kid, but I'm never excited about it as an adult. And like it'd be interesting as Isla gets a little bit older, if I'm like if she has like some excitement about fast food or wanting to go to McDonald's or something, and like then I'm like, ugh, now I have to eat McDonald's. Like, because my daughter wants McDonald's, but like I don't want to eat McDonald's. I don't even really like it. Like the fries are fine, right? But like, the burgers are not good, right? I mean, it's just, yeah, it's not, the nuggets are probably the best thing on the menu. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like it's funny because yeah, as an adult, I'm like, I'm never excited about McDonald's.
Dang you, Tom. You're missing out. You're missing out. Okay, Brian P. Swift. Are you number one? Are you excited about McDonald's? And number two, any companies or brands that always deliver for you? What's a brand or company that always delivers for you? Go on, Brian. Mr. Swift. Mr. Swift. All right, we'll roll back to Swifty. Tom, you ready for PSAs? You want to do PSAs? You got a PSA today?
Yeah, why not? Let's do. I mean, not why not. Like, let's do PSAs, right?
Okay, let's do.
It's a segment. It's a thing we do. So let's do PSAs. I do not have one ready yet, but
Okay,
I'm like, I've got some
I had
ideas. So maybe I'll think of something related to yours if you want to go first this week.
okay, I had two, and next week's lumps of coal where we basically lay it out. So put me on the clock for my PSA, and I'm going to try not to be too cranky, but I might be cranky. So PSA today, I see the clock running. My PSA is if you contact me on LinkedIn and tell me about how you want to learn about my business, how you want to meet me, how we should meet up once, twice, three times. And then I actually meet you. Like we have a call and you pitch to me for 30 straight minutes about whatever that is. I got on recently. So I'm watching the clock, so I'm going in it. I got on with a guy recently that pitched me on investments. And he was the greatest investor of all time. He made more money than anybody. He knew about life insurance. He knew about 401ks. He was the best. I sold all those things. I know about those things. I'm comfortable with who I have. He never asked me one question about me. And then at the end of the day, I said, well, I'm actually with a guy who I like, I trust. He's a friend of mine. He's done pretty well for me. The guy said, okay, thanks, goodbye. That was it. Never asked me one question. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't be the person that is so transparently only about the sale, right? I mean, like it is awful. All right, so I've got a related PSA, and this one is actually not cranky. So here we go. All right, so related. Oh, hold on. I got to fix the clock. Let's try this again. There we go. All right, now we're back to a minute. All right, so related PSA. So I've been doing a lot of outreach on LinkedIn myself, right? Growing my network, meeting new folks. I've been taking a lot of meetings, just introductory calls with a lot of people. And I've been laying it out as like, hey, this is just a call to like try to actually have some direct communication with some of my connections on LinkedIn because I don't know all of them, but it'd be good to know more of them, right? And one of the things that I've come across is some people, when I say, hey, would you be open to a quick 20-minute intro call? Some people just say, no, thanks, right? And I want to say, like, actually, I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty. Like, if you are not interested in an intro call with somebody, if you don't want to, like, shake hands and get to know someone at all, that's fine. That's your prerogative. And I appreciate the transparency and the sort of the clarity with which people respond by saying no thanks. And so my PSA is if somebody asks you and you don't want what they're offering, it is okay to say no thank you and just leave it at that. You don't owe anybody an explanation, right? And I actually kind of smile when I see those pop up. I kind of think it's funny. So yeah, that's my PSA. It's okay to say no thanks.
I enjoyed that PSA, Tom. I think you were right on the money there. At least you know where you stand. Like we used to say, I used to be one of the best sales guys that ever taught me. This guy had cool blonde hair. He wore yellow pants. He drove a fancy car, and I like looked up to this guy like he was our sales manager, and just so cool. He did it with such ease. And he used to say, "Hey man, I'm a big boy. Let me know, yes or no. Hey, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. Just let me know. A no, that's all." And he was so cool. It didn't matter who, giant construction guy, whoever. Just let me know, man, yes or no. And this guy in your PSA, just let me know. We can move on. And we won't waste any time. I hate wasting time. All right, let's go. Companies and brands that deliver. That's what we're talking about today. So I see we got our man Paris up here. Paris in the room. Paris, you got a company or brand that delivers and why? What say you, my friend? He's here. Okay, he's here. All right. Well, hang out then. Hang out then. Okay, I'm going to tell you about a company or a brand that delivers. Where the starting point for me, Tom, on this conversation. I don't know if I was reading a book at one point or heard the story from someone, but it was the beginning of Walt Disney World, and Disney's ascending. in as becoming a businessman. And he goes to a carnival and sees that the horses on the merry-go-round, once you go into the merry-go-round, they're chipped and they don't go up and down. From outside, they look good, but from once you get closer, they let you down. And so Disney said, I'm going to create a park with no illusion, where it doesn't let you down, where when you go to the horse back in there, it is painted, it moves up and down, and it's just as cool as the one on the front. So I had never been a Disney World fan. I didn't follow it and things like that. But like you with Isla, when my kids got a little, at that age, we went to Disney World. And Disney World absolutely delivered. It was magical. It was magical for my family. It was magical for me. And what they set out to do 60 years ago, when I walked into that park, they did it. So that's where I came up with this like thought companies and brands that deliver. Go on, Tom.
I was just gonna say I like the little proviso you snuck in there, just to be clear. I am not a Disney adult, right? You were saying like as my kids got old enough and they got interested in Disney, then we took them. Like, but you were like, but as an adult, I didn't follow Disney. Just so everyone knows, I'm not one of those Disney adult people. But which I am I'm right there with you on, right? Like I'm not a Disney adult. But I have fond memories of going to Disney World when I was a kid. And 100%, like I'm actually looking forward to taking Isla to Disney World when she's old enough. I think it's weird when people take like really little kids there, because like they're not even going to remember it, right? Like you can get the same kind of enjoyment for like a 2-year-old, going to a local playground or something, right? Like you don't need to go to Disney World. They're never even going to remember it, right? But, when she's a little bit older, when she's 5, 6 years old, and like she'll actually remember it, and like, can look back on pictures we take and stuff, and know what's going on, then yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun to take her there. So yeah, so that's I mean, I don't know, that's my thinking on it, but you're right. I mean, it does always deliver 100%. I mean, that's they kind of never want the illusion. It's the same, like it's why they have like all the tunnels underneath Disney World, right? So you never see them empty a garbage can, all of that kind of stuff. So like they never break the illusion of a perfect, magical, happy place.
Did you ever hear that even the characters will hug? They won't stop hugging a kid until the kid stops hugging them, because I mean, beautiful. And I have a picture of my daughter with one of the princesses when she was like 6 or something, and in love with princesses. And that, I mean, the attention that this princess gave my daughter. I hope as a businessman that I could give, that I am giving my clients that, but this attention that she gave my daughter, wonderful, and probably would last a lifetime. So stinking amazing. All right, Tom, we have to roll on. So now we were positive, and now it's time to do Tom's thumbs. Where we throw Tom under the bus and ask him something about what's going on in pop culture and see what his thoughts are. We could go presidential, we could go wars, we could do all these things. Tom, today, 2025 coming to an end. This has been a big trend all year long, so I need to know what Tom thinks about it. Tom, thumbs up or thumbs down to 6-7?
All right. Well, first of all, I'll say if this has been a big trend all year long, then I am so out of the loop, because I only learned about this maybe within the last month or so. So apparently I'm old, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not in the loop with teenagers or tweens and them saying 6-7, 6-7. And I think I actually, because I am a die-in-the-wool, like die-hard, sarcastic, wise ass who enjoys kind of poking people and getting people a little bit riled up, as much as you, Dom, enjoy poking me and trying to get me riled up with Tom's thumbs. I kind of enjoy the notion that 6-7 doesn't have any meaning other than the whole intention of it is to get people, adults specifically, people our age, right, to go, what is 6-7, right? And just to be frustrated by the fact that not only do the kids who are doing it not provide a satisfying answer, right? Because they say, oh, you wouldn't get it or whatever, like look it up. But also it doesn't actually have a distinct meaning, right? Like there is no sort of definition of what's meant by a kid going 6-7, 6-7, right? It's almost like intentionally designed just to piss adults off. And as a person with a very sort of dry, sarcastic, and irreverent sense of humor, I kind of appreciate it. I have to be honest. I think it's kind of like it's almost clever in the fact that it is kind of designed just to raise the ire of adults, and get them annoyed at kids and get them going, damn kids these days, stupid teenagers, rah, 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 and kind of like incite that sort of reaction. I actually think it's sort of clever and funny. So maybe counterintuitively, and I, from the expression on your face, I think that this is a counterintuitive take. And I love that because, again, I'm irreverent, right? And so I love sort of being counterintuitive. So that is making me even lean harder into it. But yeah, I gotta say, thumbs up, 6-7, 6-7.
I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. Wow, Tom, you are a man of many hats, a Renaissance man who likes 6-7. Well done. Okay. Hey, before we go on, any thoughts on Tom giving a thumbs up to 6-7? Who would have thought? Let's go on Mike and give me your thoughts on Tom being positive about 6-7.
So, Tom, you're already behind because dictionary.com named 6-7 as the word of the year. So it's already passed.
So, Eric, in your books, are people writing 6-7 already?
Yeah. And it basically means whatever. So whatever, hey, whatever. When I was in South America, they used to have an expression called dale, which was kind of like, yeah, I heard you got your whatever. Like, let's do dinner tonight. Dale, dale, dale. Like, yeah. We'll talk about it. 6-7 kind of started with nobody really knowing what it was. And so it became nothing. The big thing is how now language is impacted through social media at such a viral rate that in less than 1 year, it has been added to dictionaries and been named the word of the year because it has become such a part of our culture.
Hey, good take, Eric. Julie, you got a thought? Julie, you got a thought on Tom giving a thumbs up to 6-7?
Once again, I'm surprised at Tom becoming such a softie. No, I love it. And the fact that I tried to investigate that for so long and I got trapped in the loop because I kept asking my kids and they're like, Mom, stop saying that. Stop. And it made me want to figure out what the hell it meant. So I'm exactly that adult that had no idea. So I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I am guilty. I am guilty as well. My daughter did it so much; it was so annoying. I'm like, what does it mean now? Every time I see a 6 or 7, I'm just across the room like.
What happened at 8675309?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the OG of the 6-7s.
Jenny never called me back. Dr. Tachi, take on Tom giving a thumbs up to 6-7.
I'm very surprised. I was just thinking that this was going to be a thumbs down. They think it's stupidity, but what do I know? But here's the thing: if you look up 6-7 on Google, it does the hand movement that goes with 6-7. So just something to, if you're interested in seeing it.
Hey, there we go. Okay, we're coming back around.
I must be the old guy in the room that's cool, because I love 6'7" with my 16-year-old son, because we both know it means nothing, and it was initially to embarrass me as the old, like let's keep it a secret, not tell our parents. And now so I'll just look at him and go like, dude, 6'7", get out of my house. Like, and he's like, oh God, you are so not cool, but it's so funny that you're not cool about something that's no longer not cool. Like, I love it. It's a generation gap builder that causes no harm.
That's fair take. Okay, Eric, while you're here, Eric, Julie, Jason, we're coming around here. Brian was here, but he's just listening. Companies and brands that deliver. Eric, do you have a specific brand that delivers and why? Like, are they consistent? They show up. What is it about them? What do you got?
I would have to say, right during this season, I look forward to the Maxwell House TV commercials. Now, I know they're disappearing quickly, but those holiday Maxwell House, nothing is as good as home kind of feeling. It just, when they put it together, they put it together perfectly. Coca-Cola touches on it every now and then with like to buy the world of Coke, but you unify the world around something simple. Those two brands, keeping life simple, keeping connections alive.
That's good stuff, man. Okay, Julie, a company or a brand that delivers for you and why?
What else has been said so I don't repeat?
Well, it was for you and why. So even if I said McDonald's and how I love that Big Mac, why do the patties keep getting smaller? But I love that Big Mac. But we said Disney. We had all kinds of examples. Go on. What do you got?
Well, right now, what comes to mind is Amazon, because that's how I'm going to complete all my Christmas tasks. They're at my house 3 or 4 times a day. So there you go. That's all I got. I'm done. Who do I sound like?
Okay,
that's all I got.
Done. So is it the ease of it? Is it that they get there fast? What is it that makes you go to Amazon consistently?
Because I think of something I need and it's there this afternoon. And I save time is money. We all know this. And I need to, do I want to run out to Walgreens? Or do I want to save time, press one button in 1 minute and it's there this afternoon, same price, and I can get free delivery? Why? What's the point of running out to Walgreens?
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
I know everybody doesn't have same day delivery, but it really does make a difference.
I have to bring this up here just because Tom and me back channel here, and he asked about the Folgers incest commercial. So of all the weird things,
oh my God, is that for real? That was hilarious.
I know. Of all the weird things that come up in this back chat, the Folgers incest commercial, I have to throw you under the bus. What are you talking about?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea.
All right.
I do, Tom. It's so funny. It's hilarious.
Just just so and you can just flash. You don't have to get in, but I don't know, flash your mics if you guys know what I'm talking about with the Folgers incest commercial. Anybody? Julie does, right? No, nobody else. Oh man, you guys gotta. Okay, so there's 2 things you gotta watch, right? So it's often referred to. You can also find it if you Google Folgers brother and sister commercial, right? So if you Google Folgers brother and sister commercial, watch the commercial, and then Google SNL Folgers brother and sister commercial, because they did a bit on it. But basically, essentially what it boiled down to was maybe some bad casting and some bad directing choices in this Folgers commercial, and there's some real sexual tension between the actors. They're, just to be clear, they're not actually brother and sister, but the actors playing brother and sister in the commercial, there's some legitimate sexual tension in the Folgers commercial, and it did not go unnoticed. So anyway, yeah, so I highly suggest, if you have not watched it, please watch first the Folgers version, the Folgers brother and sister commercial, and then look up the SNL skit version of it, because they are both both worth spending a couple of minutes on. Good entertainment value. But yeah, when Eric mentioned the Maxwell House commercials, I was like, Folger's incest commercial. And apparently everybody but Julie in the room was like, I'm sorry, the what now? And to that, I have one thing to say, 6'7".
This might be an episode where if somebody goes back and listens, watches, whatever, it could be a best of Tom. You came out really strange today, Tom. You came out talking about weird calendars at the beginning. Then you took a unique take on 6'7", and now incest Folgers commercials. I don't know about Tom anymore.
I'm a wealth of random and weird information.
Yeah, things are changing. Okay, companies and brands that deliver. Jason B, my man, Jason. Jason, you encouraged us for a long time to go to a podcast as well, and we just did that. So thank you, man. Thanks for the push time after time. Jason, a company or a brand that delivers for you consistently, whatever that is. What do you got?
There's like a couple, but the one that stands out right now that I use the most is DJI. Love their drones, love their action cameras, love their vlogging cameras, their gimbals. Excellent quality. It's a Chinese brand, but you know what? I have been a hobbyist in drone flying, and there is not much comparable in their brand and their quality. They really deliver an excellent product, and their customer service, their warranty, their durability, they're out to really help you promote yourself and give you great creative tools for filming, recording, or whatever you want. So that one stands out the most this year for me. But also an age-old brand, Sony. I love Sony music, movies, TVs. I mean, so those are mine. But 6'7", it just means, like my kid says, brain rot. But I'm like, I also think about when you do the hands thing, 6'7", this or that. So I don't really put too much mind to it.
Nice, Jason. Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the things that, from my perspective, that DJI has done really well is integration across their product line. So they've got the gimbal that they developed for their drones. They then turned into an action cam with the Osmo, which also integrates really well with their wireless microphones pretty seamlessly. So like a good job, kind of like similar to, or maybe borrowing from the Apple ecosystem, in that like all of their products tend to integrate well together, right, across product lines. And I think it's a really smart move for them. It keeps people in the ecosystem, right? People are like, oh, well, I have an Osmo, then I should just get the DJI mics because they integrate wirelessly and seamlessly without having to do anything on my end. All of that kind of stuff. So similar kind of model to like what Apple's done. But I think good shout out there. I think they're a good company. I think they make good products. But anyway, I think we're running out of time quickly today. Apparently, we're both on Tom time, because like I just looked up and I was like, oh my God, it's 10:25. What's going on? But before we do run out of time, we've got a couple of things left to do. And one of them is we have to take a walk with you down memory lane. So what do you got for us this week, Tom?
Let's do it, Tom. Today for memory lane, I want to take you to a time before everything was on your phone. Sometimes I wish I had like an album cover or a photo that wasn't on my phone. So I wanted to take you to my childhood when we used to go to the Olin Mills or whatever it was and get our pictures taken. What a time that we have these memories. And why did every family went? There's Dom as a baby, cute as can be, a little heavy. My mom said she fed me extra baby food. What a sweet haircut. What a sweet haircut. Olin Mills. So, Tom, family pictures, actually being able to hold photographs in your hands and put them. I miss it. And I'm glad to have these nostalgic times. What a haircut. But I don't know. What do you do when you miss something and you can't go back? I don't know. Just try to remember it best you can. That's what I got for memory lane, Tom. my old photos.
I like it. I mean, so we 100% went to like the Sears, portrait studio when we were kids, and as a family. But then the thing that I've seen recently is there is a little bit of a trend, or like I've seen a bunch of people do this of like basically recreating or like creating in a studio setting versions of those kinds of portraits, like for nostalgia's sake. So like some of them are adults recreating what the portraits when they were kids. So like a bunch of siblings getting together and like, going to a portrait studio, going to a photography studio and having the photographer kind of like recreate the look. But then also, I've seen other groups of friends doing it, like kind of recreating like the silly sort of poses that the photographers would put you in. I mean, I don't know, they would do funny things with like somebody laying down and somebody like sitting on their back kind of, or like elbows up on their back, like going different direction. I don't know, there's all kinds of like funny poses that people would do. But I've seen a bunch of people like sort of recreating those digitally. So I appreciate that. I've definitely taken a walk or taken a walk into a Sears portrait studio when I was a kid and gotten some pictures taken. And maybe it's something, maybe we'll do something like that. Do something like that when Isla gets a little bit older. Maybe we'll take her to a portrait studio, or do some like, legit like sort of family portraits with her. That could be fun. If we make it a fun thing, I think. If we don't take it too seriously, because I remember like getting yelled at because we weren't, I was screwing around, and it was serious business. We were there to do serious business and get our pictures taken. Yeah, I don't know, if we don't take it too seriously and make it fun, then maybe we'll do it with Isla.
That's a good take, Tom. I wonder how many pictures, if anybody in this room looks back, did they have like red eyes because their parents had yelled at them. So I just, even in these ones, I see that these eyes of this kid definitely looked like there had been some tears going on. So one after another. Tom, you nailed that. This kid had definitely been crying. So don't take it too serious. Okay, Tom, it's that time. Like only you can do, and you've been strange today. So Tom, I don't know what you're going to give us. Wrap us up. What do you got?
All right. Well, I got two things really quickly. And the first is that I think whatever company it is, whatever brand it is, that you think of when we ask the question, what's a company or a brand that delivers for you? I think one of the sort of commonalities that we've seen across all the answers that people have given and what we've talked about today is that at the end of the day, it's about how they make you feel and the problem that they solve for you in your life. And so as a brand or a business, I just want everybody listening to this to bear that in mind, to remember that at the end of the day, you should always be trying to do a couple of things, right? One, solve problems for your ideal clients and customers, right? Like that's what companies and products and services are designed to do, is to solve problems, right? For people, to make their lives better or easier. So focus on that. But then the other thing, and this is sort of the holy grail, I think, of relationship building for businesses, is whatever you do everything you can do to make people feel good about supporting your brand or business. And if you can do that, then they will deliver for you in the same way that you've delivered for them. So that's all I got for our wrap up today. The last thing I want to say is we will be back next week on December 23rd, Christmas Eve, and we will be here with our annual show, our annual episode, where Dom and I will spend the hour handing out lumps of coal. So make sure you don't miss it. It's an hour full of Dom and I basically just trading off, handing out lumps of coal to people or brands or businesses or things that we think sort of fell short of the mark in the last year. So make sure you're here next week. Until then, for Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.